Hi, folks. This is John, Wingman115 Channel. We're back again for another live broadcast. Have special guests Andy Tran from InnerBark Outdoors. Andy, would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Hey, Andy Tran here with InnerBark Outdoors, and I guess we are here at Wingman's channel. I have a channel over on my end of things, youtube.com/InnerBark Outdoors. I am the designer of the Tacoma Field Knife, and like my bio says on my channel and also on the TOPS website, I am a cinematographer. And so I think for this live chat, we're going to be talking a little bit about getting started with YouTube and all that fun stuff that pertains to that.
Yeah, both Andy and I get a lot of questions in regards to what sort of camera gear that we use, and lately we've been getting questions on how do we start a YouTube channel. So we thought we would kind of integrate that into tonight's live show. Andy's the professional. I'm the wannabe intermediate guy that's trying to learn more every day. So we're going to kind of cover gear all the way from basic all the way up to the professional stuff that Andy uses. The first thing that I guess we'll probably talk about is folks who are looking to start a YouTube channel. What sort of obstacles or what sort of challenges, what to expect when you first start that channel. Andy, do you have any input on something like that? Because you've had a couple channels.
Right. I how to close down and restart and this and that, but that's a whole other topic altogether. But basically, a quick background is I did a lot of action sport cinematography, and being in that, it's a very small community of cinematographers, and so it's not saturated. And I was very used to getting like 100,000 views or so per video. When I started the YouTube channel, I was like, oh, it's going to be that awesome. I like my video skills. They're good. My stuff looks good. The people enjoy the content. But when I started my channel, I was getting, 500 views. I was getting maybe one subscriber every other day. And so having that expectation and then having the realities sink in at the very beginning was very disheartening. So, but sticking in with it, after a while, you really start to, things start to pick up once you find your voice and your audience and all that stuff. What did you find when you first started?
Well, I started my channel like when YouTube first came out. I think it was 2006. And I've always been a big fan of photography and video. And when YouTube came along, it wasn't like it is today. Folks were showing their family birthday outings and things like that on there. It was kind of like almost like a Facebook-style medium back then where folks were doing like vacation videos and things. So I posted a bunch of stuff like that of course, the family watched, but nobody else cared about. So I kind of fell away for a couple of years. Then I want to say about 2009-ish, I was in Scouts. As a Scouter, I was helping, I was teaching classes, doing things, and somebody said, hey, you should probably start making videos on some of this stuff that you do. And so I started doing videos like that, posting them up, and finding an audience. And I think that's the big thing for folks who are just starting out is, and Andy and I talked about this earlier, you need to find your voice. What do you have a passion about? What do you care about doing? Because if you don't talk about something that you have a passion about, then you're not going to be able to communicate effectively in regards to what message you're trying to put out. And it doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be outdoor-related things. It could be fishing, it could be hunting, it could be whatever, surfing, kiteboarding, doesn't matter. As long as you have a passion about it and that you have a story to tell. And I think that was the hardest thing for me to learn, is because I never had any formal training, so I'm just running and gunning and shooting and getting all crazy. And I had to settle down a little bit and go, okay, what sort of message do I want to convey?
Right. And I think it's kind of the same for me. I had to find my voice in that I had to feel comfortable in front of the camera. because before then, aside from maybe videoing myself to train for a presentation, I never really was in front of the camera because I'm a cameraman. I stay behind the camera, stay behind the scene, very quiet, and I separate myself from the subject. So switching from that to becoming the subject and becoming the person and the voice was very strange. But after watching Ray Mayer's videos and hating some YouTube videos out there and channels, I wanted something different, and so that was kind of my motivation. So
Yeah, the hardest part for me is when that camera turns on and you go, oh my God, there's possibly an unlimited amount of people could be watching this, and then all of a sudden you start getting stage fright.
Right, and you never know because the internet's very easy for people to be mean. They might not say something to your face if they're right there, but people can be very critical, probably in an unfair way. Picking at stupid things just for no reason. So that's also something that you have to get around.
Oh yeah, they'll point out any little error that you make. That's for sure. And that's a good talking point too, Andy. Is that you got to kind of take things with a grain of salt and not take life so serious on YouTube.
Yeah.
Some of these comments, you just got to just laugh and go, okay, that doesn't even deserve a comment back. Just let it go.
I think the last one I had was someone was commenting on my wrinkled shirt, because I had it stuck in my backpack, and you mentioned that you saw that.
I mentioned it off air, though.
Yeah. But I had a wrinkled shirt because I was sweating in the shirt that I was hiking in, and I had a shirt stuffed in, so when I got up to the top, put on a new shirt, it was wrinkly, and I was like, oh, whatever, no one's going to care. But someone did mention it. But, things like that, they're, like you said, a grain of salt. Everyone's going to have some gripe about something. You can't please everyone all the time.
One of the biggest questions I get is, what sort of camera should I get? And that's a hard one. Luckily, we live in a time where there's a lot of great stuff out there that's really affordable because of the trickle-down technology now with HD and now 4K. And just like when I was mountain bike riding, all that high-level race gear always trickles down into the grassroots stuff eventually and becomes really affordable. One of the things that I started out with, and I'll show real quick, was just a little Canon PowerShot. And I mean, for relatively, 150, 200 bucks, for some is a lot of money, but I mean, that's obtainable. And then I have a little X shot, so that way I can kind of do my own little selfie, and be able to be on video. And I use this a lot when I'm out in the woods, especially when I'm hiking, and I'm trying to give folks that sort of point of view shot, because both Andy and I, for the most part, we're one-man production companies. Right. So we're everything. So you got to kind of figure out how to multitask at the same time, doing a lot of different things. These X shots are really nice. They're worth their money. I bought this one at REI, and it was like 19 bucks.
That's not bad. And
that's a pretty good start.
A lightweight tripod, and this is a tripod that I've had since I was probably like 5 years old, or my dad had it actually, and then I just kind of picked it up out of the garage. But it's like a cheapo photography one, but I still use it to this day with my LiDAR camera, and you can do that same thing, just go like that, point toward yourself, lock it down, and it works.
I think the biggest thing that folks hopefully can get from this, it's not the equipment, it's the story that you're telling. There's a lot of people that have made some really good videos, and I watch a ton of different stuff because I just love action sports and just everything, and I try to learn a little bit from every sort of genre. There's folks making great videos with a smartphone. It's all the story of what you're trying to tell.
And one thing I'll add to that too is that it's just like Netflix or live streaming things. The quality isn't as good as a DVD or Blu-ray or anything like that. People don't care about the quality, and most people are watching on their cell phones anyway. They're probably watching it about 50-50 for me, computer and mobile device, whether that be a tablet or a cell phone. The screen's small, the quality's not going to matter too much, but something like audio definitely is going to be up there. And I know you started upgrading over time with your camera as well. You want to go over those little evolutions?
Yeah, one great thing is, this is why I became a subscriber initially to Andy's channel, was just the quality of production that he does is just outstanding. So over the years that we've known each other, I've kind of picked his brain, and sometimes I have him critique, and it's good to have a buddy system like that, that somebody can kind of critique you, because that's the only way that you're going to get better, to have good, honest feedback. And mine, a lot of it is sound. Nothing's worse than going out there, you get wind noise, and somebody can't hear you, and I'm guilty of that. I have videos out there, I've made mistakes. But I went out and bought a Asden, and this is a WM Pro. It's a wireless mic. They run a little bit, probably about $100-ish. But if you're going to have a channel and you're going to invest the sweat equity to build a channel, then I would definitely invest in that. And here's the transmitter and the receiver. And then I just have my video camera. This is a Canon Vixia. It has a external mic port. A lot of the small compact video cameras don't have that. I have a very good Samsung H300 that takes really kick-ass video, but they don't have an external mic port. So I get a lot of the wind noise, so I had to like sidebar this and maybe use this for B-roll shots. And then for a lot of voiceover stuff now, this is the introductory model. This is a Zoom H1 for folks that are just getting into audio. This is a audio recorder in stereo, and it has an in jack and an out jack, and you can put a memory chip in here as well. So I plug this into my computer, or I can plug it into my camera, and now I have great audio coming into my camera. And I know Andy has one. Can you show the folks the one that you have, which is more professional model?
This is the Zoom H2N. And I think this was somewhere around 150, 200 when I got it. But again, it does really good audio. Has a quarter 20 little thing in there, so you can hook it up to a tripod if you're going to be standing and doing the voiceover. And 4-channel surround sound. And as far as I can tell, it's probably as good as my professional shotgun mic in terms of getting the voiceover. So you're not going to hear too much of a difference aside from background noise, ambient noise around me. So overall, I think these are a really good option. And it's cool that you can do it on this versus, talking into a camera while doing the voiceover, because it's a lot less memory that you're taking out. Versus, I can shoot a 20-minute video, and that'll be probably about, I want to say 20 gigs or so. Versus this, it'll be like 2 gigs, 3 gigs. So it's a very, very flexible in that aspect. In terms of compact cameras, because you have a very compact setup, my newest camera actually is my most compact setup. I have some bigger cameras, which I'll probably show. But the main reason why I chose this camera is because it is rainproof and dustproof, and it is the Sony NX70U. And so that's extremely important for doing the outdoor cinematography and stuff like that, because here in Washington, pretty much rains a lot. And over on the east side of the mountains in eastern Washington, it's very dry, dusty, and very windy. And so you can still tell, I don't know if you can see that, but it's still very dusty from my last trip. And it's very lightweight, compact, and then it has a small adapter that I can connect to the top so I can plug in professional microphones. And it also has night vision as well, which is nice in some applications.
Brian's asking me in the channel, thanks for coming on tonight, Brian, from Survival on Purpose. He's asking how I mounted my Asden wireless mic. I just went to a camera shop, and I just went and purchased, basically it's like a accessory bar where you can mount either a flash or anything that has a hot shoe, this just unscrews and then just slides off. So it just has like a dummy hot shoe on there. And it was like $10, and it has that quarter 20, so it goes on your tripod. And it makes it really nice. Everything's all together. So when I'm going out in the woods and I'm doing my filming, I mount this on my tripod, then I just carry it along with me, and then I'm all set up. I'm ready to go. So it just makes it really, really nice on that. Another affordable one for folks that might be on a budget. I started out filming, and I don't even know if they make this anymore. You might be able to find it on eBay. Is a Kodak ZX1, and this shoots HD. It shoots in 720. I would recommend that you mount it on a tripod because there's no image stabilization, so you'll get a little rocky. But AA batteries, rechargeable. So consideration for some folks. Save a buck or two there. I think I bought this. It was a refurb for like $50. So there's definitely options out there for folks to take advantage. There's not really any reason not to do video at all.
Right. And I think there's also other cameras out there that are like that actually have a flip screen.
Yes.
So it's even better for the self-filming crowd.
Samsung makes them, and Panasonic also makes them, and they make them like with a pistol grip on there. And speaking of pistol grips, in case folks are asking, this is an accessory that you can buy at a camera shop as well. I use this on my camcorder, and I also use it on my DSLR. And it makes it really nice when you're shooting video, and you can just bring it in tight, and you can hold it close so you're not bouncing all over the place.
It's a lot more ergonomic too, because the less you stress your muscles, it's just like shooting any sort of gun. The more relaxed you are, the less shake you're going to have. So that's something to note as well.
One critique or tip I would probably give folks is, and I see it on a lot of videos, is people are just zooming in and out. They're getting all crazy back and forth, and sometimes you get disoriented just watching the camera zoom in and out. Andy would know better than I do. You plan your shot, shoot it. If you're going to zoom, either walk in and shoot it or zoom in to get your shot, but don't keep panning in and out, going back and forth. Take your shot and then go to the next shot, sort of thing, because playing yo-yo on a lot of these videos, I mean, if you're talking about taking your channel to the next level, those are some things that you just have to do because it's just confusing. Some of the videos I get out of there when they start doing stuff like that because I get dizzy watching it.
Yeah, I'm very sensitive to that stuff, and I told Lindsay, I won't watch a shaky cam movie unless it's like Saving Private Ryan, because that actually is done right and doesn't get me dizzy. But a lot of things like Paranormal Activity, those sort of things, it makes me want to puke. So, if someone asks me to check out their channel, check out their video, and it's like that, then I respectively cannot. Not that the content's bad, it's just that I can't handle it.
Schmolly's asking what a good budget stable camera is. Well, Canon Vixia, I think I bought it for like $230. Shoots HD, 1080p. I mean, you're good to go. And these Canons are notorious. These ones, the battery life just sucks the life right out of them. So I went and bought double-sized battery. I bought a couple of them. And when you go out in the woods, check your gear before you go. Make sure your batteries are charged, your SIM cards are formatted, and that way you're not going to have any problem. Nothing worse than spending all the money in gas. I paid $4.41 a gallon tonight gas in my car in California, and to drive up to the mountains and then realize that you didn't charge up your batteries when you left the house. So
awful. And also keep them in like a Tupperware container, like a Gladware or Ziploc little rigid thing. It's inexpensive. It adds a little bit of crush proofness, but it also keeps the dust and the rain and all that stuff out of it in case your stuff gets wet. You don't have to get an OtterBox or a Pelican case for those little things. Something cheap and inexpensive will work as well.
Baseball Man's asking if we can recommend any inexpensive beginners cameras.
Well, I think what you mentioned is pretty good.
Yeah, or these Canon Power Shots take excellent video, but the audio is terrible.
Yeah.
Unless you're gonna maybe do external
And
and
you
then
have to sync.
sync it
That
in post, but
that's a whole other thing altogether that we won't go
yeah,
into this video because that's an actual lesson.
yeah.
But yeah, any sort of external microphone. I mean, I use Sony wireless microphones. You can do the as done. That'll get you by most of the stuff. But when you're working with me and you're getting paid to get good stuff, you have to go a little bit higher. Otherwise, if there's a little bit of static, you have to redo the entire shot. Keeps on happening, then you're pretty much debunked. So I mean, it's a $700 setup for what I have.
Uh, T&B Country Strong is asking, what's a good video editing software for budget?
iMovie's great if it comes, with your computer for free. They have tutorials online and also through Apple as well.
Yeah.
And I think if you buy a brand new, they have that.
It's under $20.
Yeah, it's like they have a tutor as well that can show you how to Genius Bar. Windows Movie Maker, that was the very first thing that I used. It actually works. So, as far as budgets go, you can do it for almost free.
Yeah, for all my 200 and something videos, I've used iMovie. I've tried Adobe and all that stuff, and the learning curve for me, everything's about time management, and I'm trying to get the best bang for the buck. Right now, I know iMovie pretty good, and it works for what I do. If you're doing a lot of special effects, if you're doing a lot of editing and things like that, then you make the jump. But just starting a channel, yeah, iMovie, they came out with version 10. I don't have that one. I'm using iMovie 11. It's weird how 11 came out before 10, but that's Apple. But either that or Windows Movie Maker, yeah, are both great, basic, starting out programs. Get your feet wet. If that's what you like, then make the jump to either Sony Vegas or
Premiere.
Final Cut Pro or.
Yeah, I'm using Premiere Pro. I mean, but you're going to be paying near $1,500 for the suite. Most people aren't going to use those features, and you pretty much have to go to school to learn how to use it, so I don't suggest that to most people. iMovie works great. My girlfriend, she has a YouTube channel. She uses that, so I don't have to edit for her. So, yeah, that's pretty much that. But yeah. Do you want to talk about tripods and stuff like that? Because that's a huge thing, I think.
I have a couple. I'm digging deep. I spent probably about, I think it was 80 or 90 bucks for this one. This is a ProMaster, and I use this one because I have my DSLR, and I'd hate to put a $500 or $600 camera on a $20 tripod and then break my camera. So I went out and bought a nice sturdy one. Now this isn't my Woods tripod. I have a small little Sony. I have it downstairs in my backpack that I also carry, and that's just because of weight constraints. Being a one-man band, I can't carry everything plus the test gear that I'm going to test out in the woods.
Right. Yeah, I think for me, when I'm going very lightweight and minimalist, I think I just showed it a little bit ago, but that old tripod that my dad left me. Saying, I don't know, you could probably buy something like this right now for about $15. I mean, they're pretty inexpensive. It doesn't have a quick release plate or anything like that, so you have to unscrew it every single time.
And
Google One is not a video tripod, apparently. But when I go out and I'm doing more advanced videos, or I'm using my bigger cameras, like either my HVX, which is a really good camera, it's a workhorse, or my HPX, which is my main camera, you need to go for, more robust. tripods, because like you said, you don't want to break $500 camera on a cheapy little thing. So for those, I have this tripod, and this tripod, I think the weight limit on it is about 100 pounds for the legs, and then the head is about a 10-pound load capacity on that, and that's a man-fertile fluid head. And a fluid head and a regular photo head are completely different things.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, I don't know how you describe it. I guess one of those fancy toilet seats, you know, that automatically slow themselves down and don't slam. It's kind of like that versus ones that just close with gravity. And then I have a higher end tripod, and this one is all carbon fiber. And then I have a cinema head on that, which is an O'Connor. But again, this setup altogether is probably around $2,000, but it's holding up like a $30,000 camera. So as you get heavier and more expensive, the things that support it also get extremely expensive and harder to maintain. But you know, you kind of got to figure out where you're going there with where your channel is.
You know, you can take a lot of good video just with a GoPro.
And I know you take some great video with the GoPro, and good audio too, last time I checked.
The Hero 2 has a jack on the side, and you just go get you an external microphone, and it'll plug right in there, and then you have nice, good stereo sound coming out of there. Some of our time-lapse, and Andy just did a great time-lapse video on his behind-the-scenes channel with his contour, and what we did was I went to IKEA and I bought these timers, and then I drilled out the bottom, and then I went down to Home Depot and bought a quarter 20 thread insert.
I think they're called bolts,
I
right?
GD welded it in there, so it's going to stay. And then what you do is these cameras have time-lapse functions, so you can take a photo every half second, every 2 seconds, every 5, 10, 15, and 30-second intervals, and then just turn it for an hour, and now you have a 360-degree photo opportunity. So it's great if you're on a mountaintop. It's great if you're at a beach. It's great if there's a storm rolling in and you want something to see. The good thing with time-lapse is you need to have something like in the foreground that's moving in order to kind of have that contrast.
Right. Yeah, I mean, when you sent this to me, I was really stoked because it's basically set it and forget it, you know? And with those very lightweight, itty-bitty cameras, you don't need something, you know, because if I had a device like this for my big camera, we're talking about $3,000. This, you were able to make this in probably, what, an hour or so to get all this.
Yeah, I've made a couple of them now, so about, yeah, it's under an hour.
Yeah, I mean, and it's very inexpensive.
Yeah, it was $4 at IKEA for the $4 or $5 for the timer.
There we go. And with your little stereo mic and even your GoPro that you have on there, that's a. I mean, I saw you do some review stuff within your Jeep, and the picture was really good, and the audio, I couldn't even tell it was a helmet camera.
What I used, the thing about GoPro, here's where they get you, is with the accessories. Everything is an accessory on a GoPro, and the suction cup mounts, the chest mounts, the head mounts. I mean, you can go crazy town broke with buying all the mounts for a GoPro. But also, in my mind, is I'm always thinking about trying to get that unique shot, try to get a shot that no one else is able to get. I'm still working on it. I'm always coming up with ideas. I mean, I know I talk to Andy all the time, and I bounce ideas off, and we laugh, silly talk a lot of times about stuff. But you know, you always gotta keep pushing the envelope of what you're doing and just have fun. And you have to have a passion for what you're pursuing. Yeah. If you're doing it and you're trying to have an outdoor channel and you're not an outdoors person or you're giddy about skinning animals, whatever, then try a different angle on it. There's 100 different ways to skin a cat, and try to tell your story in a unique way. Yeah, we would all like the fame of like a nut and fancy, but you got to be yourself. You don't want to be that poser. You gotta find your voice, and that's the hardest part. And take your time when you're putting out videos. Put out quality. I know when I first started my channel, I was like, oh my God, I gotta hurry up. I gotta get some content out because I gotta have that quote legitimate channel. When I should slow down and work on the quality, work on the sound, work on the lighting. Take time to think about my shots. What story am I trying to convey? So hopefully over time, over the 200 and something videos that I've made, hopefully there's some sort of forward progression in doing that. I kind of wrote down a quick little list of bullet points Andy and I were talking about earlier, and kind of go over them real quick. The first one was my big mistake, was every other word I said
I'm guilty.
Yeah, you have to plan out your videos a little bit. I don't mean you have to like script every word out and have cue cards and everything, but before every video that I do, I write on a piece of paper kind of like what my story outline is going to be, and then my talking points. And then with those talking points, I turn it into my style of how I'm going to convey that thought. I know that I had a big problem with that, and I think a lot of that was just being camera shy, getting in front of the camera. And there's going to be good days in front of the camera and bad days when you can't get anything right. But you got to get the ums out of your vocabulary. You can't say that anymore.
Well, one thing I'll add to that is some people might say, well, you're scripting a review, and that's not true at all. Because I know when you get a review, and when I get a review, an item to review, we spend quite a bit of time with it, probably at least a month before we actually film it. So we already know what to expect and how it's going to perform.
Yeah.
Things like a torture test, I obviously don't try that ahead, so that kind of happens raw. But yeah, pointing everything out, making sure you get the shots, and getting rid of the ums. The ums are not only a little bit annoying, but they also, even if you are credible, they kind of take away credibility. I say it in my normal speech, but when I'm on camera, I take that stuff out so I can switch it on and off.
Yeah, that's true. Another thing that I had to learn is to slow my speech down when I'm talking on video. A lot of times we know our content, we know our subject matter, and we're guys, right? We're just detail oriented, we're trying to get the job done, and then we're speaking fast, and then bang, we move on to the next thing. And the hardest thing for me, and somebody pointed out to this, is, John, not all your viewers are experts in knowing what you're talking about. A lot of people are new people that have never been exposed to either the outdoors or the gear you're reviewing or the talking points that you're talking about. So I had to go, yeah, you're right. So when I do set up my videos, I talk about it like I'm trying to talk to somebody who's learning or doesn't know the subject matter, and it's their first time maybe watching my channel or watching a video on that. And that kind of helps me get in that zone to convey that thought. What's your ideas on that one?
Yeah, and it's something that, you know, I won't, sometimes when I'm doing voiceover or something, I won't mention something because I take for granted what people may or may not know. And luckily I have my girlfriend, and she kind of helps me out and says, oh, well, that's brand new to me, I never knew that. And to me it's like, well, duh, I had to learn it too, but I forget sometimes. So being detail-oriented, talking to a camera much like you would talk to a person also helps a lot, because otherwise it seems like you're just reciting. But if you're having a conversation with someone, it's a lot more fluid and a lot more natural. And I think that is something that a lot of people tend to learn, at least eventually, when they start the YouTube process.
This one was a hard one for me when I first started. Let the material or the story dictate the length of the video. I know when I first started, and you know, when you become that YouTube partner, and they go, "Hey, John, now you can make videos that are over 15 minutes long," and then you're like, "Yeah, I want to make a feature," but you're doing a video on this big pencil, and you're going to talk about this pencil, relevant topic, and stay on point for 30 minutes talking about this? No. Let the material and the subject matter dictate how long your video is. Think about this. When you watch TV and a commercial tells a story in under 1 minute from start to finish. And you convey pretty much, especially car videos, commercials, soda video, any sort of video like that tells a story. So that's how you want to do when you're planning out your videos is, how am I going to tell the best story in the short amount of time that's going to convey this message to where it isn't boring? Because in the analytics, if you have a channel, you should be looking at your analytics to see how long the average view time on your video is. So for most folks, the average view time is probably 30-something percent, right? Is the average YouTube watch length before people click out of your video?
Upper 30s, lower 40s, somewhere around there.
Well, they consider, like, if you're in the 40s to be pretty good. And that means if you got a 10-minute video, somebody watched your video for 4 minutes before they clicked out. So what you want to do is have content that's still engaging to keep folks watching your video for the whole length in the analytics. And a lot of that plays big in how your video is ranked in the Google search engine.
Exactly. Related videos, all that.
How you tag your video, the title of your video. The biggest thing also is description in your video. You need relevant description in your video that kind of mirrors what your tags are. So when Google's search algorithm is looking, it sees that, and then that relative content comes up, so your videos show up a little bit higher than that.
And be truthful with these descriptions and these titles, because I think it was kind of a trend early on in YouTube's thing where it would be misleading to get people to click, and then it wouldn't be what people expected. They would thumbs it down, and they'd only watch probably 5 seconds of it, which nowadays, now that they switched how things work out, that's very detrimental to the success of your video.
Yes.
So that is something to consider. There's a whole mess of things that they go over in the YouTube creators training thing. I don't know what it's called exactly, but it's basically boot camp for YouTubers. And they go over these sorts of things, and they also help you start to build your brand. You need a logo, you need a banner, to go across different media outlets and these things. So there's no shortage of information in that, because YouTube wants you to succeed. Because not only do they want more people staying on YouTube as a site, but they also want more people watching your videos. Because if you're a partner, that means more money for Google. So.
And if folks are wondering, YouTube has a video editor that you can use for free to edit your video. So if all you have is that smartphone and you're trying to make a video, you can edit it online through the YouTube video editor. And how you go there is you go to the right top where your icon is. You would click on that, and then it has a new thing now that just started maybe about a week ago called Creator Studio. And then that takes you over to your dashboard where you have your video manager, community, your channel, your analytics, and then they have a audio library so you're not hit with copyright infringement stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of great resources out there, and Andy's right. They really do want you to succeed. And I've taken a few of their creators classes. It was like week long, and it was very informative, and I learned a lot from it. It's very, very good.
Yeah.
Another one that I have is check your spelling on your titles, on your description. I'm guilty of it too. Hey, I'm human like everybody else. I've made mistakes, and folks are going to point it out. They're going to tell me just how well my public education was on that.
Yeah, I'm public school. You know, I have a high school diploma, and I have a film certificate when I went to film school. You know, thank God for random new technology where they put that little red squiggly line at the bottom to tell you that you're a dumbass for not being able to spell Wednesday. You know,
I have another one that says good lighting and good sound. We already talked about that.
although one thing though that's very inexpensive for outdoor lighting is a bounce disc. You know, this one has a cover that you can take on and off, which has a blackout, silver, a gold, and a white, and then it also has a translucent to diffuse light. So something like this helps out tremendously, especially in hard light situations.
Yeah, I need to get me one of those because there's times I'm out in the woods and I need a little bit of light shining back because there's too much light in the background.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be a great thing to have, and they're relatively inexpensive.
Yeah, you can get the real ones for like $80 for the size, or you can get the cheap ones like I do and pay $20. And I use these on professional sets. They're not any worse than the professional stuff.
Schmoley asks, how do you feel about pirate music? Don't, because you'll get hit with a copyright infringement.
Oh, pirated music, or pirate as in like Sail the Seven Seas kind of pirate?
Yeah.
I think music, if you want to do a sea shanty, that's all you if you want to do that.
Yeah.
Pirated music, I would say no because copyright, it messes up your channel. I got hit with some random Google stuff that wasn't even true, and that is what ruined my previous InnerBark channel, and that's why I had to start a new one. So, you know, go as clean as you can. There's free music to use on YouTube that they let you use royalty-free. You don't have to worry about that stuff. And if you're just going for a feeling or a mood, that works perfectly fine.
Make videos that you love making. We talked about that. Not making videos of love making, but that you love making.
Love making.
It's a G-rated program. I'm starting to blush. And
there's other outlets for that stuff.
Yeah, there is. Self-help groups. Oh, and a shameless plug. Andy sells these T-shirts, InnerBark. Check them out. They're really cool.
Yep, you can check it out on my channel. I have a link on my channel page.
Yeah, so they're really awesome T-shirts. I like this one. Oh, and another quick shameless plug. Prepare One and I have teamed up, and he has graciously donated for a giveaway this week a Tops MSK 2.5 knife and 2 Tops Spec Ops tactical pens. Have a video on the channel. Follow the video links. Do all the good stuff. Facebook, all that good stuff. Leave a comment on the video. I'm going to be doing a drawing of that knife and the pens on 4th of July, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So look for that. We're going to have a lot of good fun. Thanks, Ken, from Prepare One, for being a great sponsor and a channel supporter. I mean, if you haven't been to his website yet, it's www.helpprepare.me. Check him out. He's got an awesome store. Really good guy. Really good guy. Thanks for the support, Ken. That was my shameless plug.
A very great opportunity if you have seen like the Tops factory tour video and love the fact that Tops Knives does everything, but you just can't quite afford it. This is a really good way to get one of their more popular knives. Absolutely.
I'd love to win that knife. I don't have one. That would be a cool knife to have.
Yeah, it's a great companion knife to the TFK or an axe or anything like that.
Knife and Gun says, I'll buy a shirt only if it make the sound when I put it on. Oh, the sound of the InnerBark creaking.
Oh, that'd be sweet. No, if you have a really old rickety body, you might get some creaks when you're getting your shoulders through.
Yeah, if you're about 102 and your bones are going to snap like kindling wood, then it'll make the InnerBark sound.
Yeah.
Or just don't drink water for about 4 days.
There we go.
We were talking offline, and I wanted to give you folks some resources, and what I'll do after is I'll put this in the video description of this live show, and it's some resources that I've used that I found very, very great content, good stuff. If you want to take your videos and your channel to the next level, one of them is called Basic Filmmaker. This is a guy, he's a professional in Hollywood. He donates his time. He doesn't do the YouTube thing for fame and fortune. He already has his gig being a director and a producer. He guides you through the steps of video production. He's got a really cool way of doing it, a little bit of comedy, great teacher. Another one is called KnopTop, and it's called Quick Effects. Just check Quick Effects on the search bar. Great stuff in there, low budget DIY sort of things, because all these camera stuff, man, I can't afford to go get the rest of the stuff. I'm doing some PVC DIY stuff myself. TheFrugalFilmmaker, great website and great YouTube channel, and he has DIY projects, talks about video production, and if you have a DSLR, probably the best channel so far is Dave Dugdale, and he has a website called learningdslr.com. Just a plethora of knowledge if you're trying to learn how to use this. If it's your first time shooting video, taking pictures. So there's 4 resources for you that I will put in the video description after we post this.
Yeah. And as far as DIY stuff goes, I'm using DIY stuff. This is my slider that I made. I mean, it's very inexpensive from stuff I have laying around still. So you can get these, you know, nice motion shots for, you know, a piece of equipment that costs you less than $50 to make.
He paid a lot less for his slider than I paid for mine. And he probably takes a lot better shots. I know he takes a lot better shots than I do. But,
well,
you know,
before I go down to South America this year, I'll have a real one so that I can have a little crank and have it be really smooth with that.
Baseball Man says he loves your intro and your map navigation vids. By far the best vids on YouTube, he says.
I think he was saying that to Brian, though.
Oh, it could be Brian, yeah.
Yep. Well, I think I like his intro, and definitely his map stuff is awesome.
And I like his guitar playing on there as well. And if you're not a subscriber to Brian from Survival on Purpose, he's been a guest on the show a couple times.
Yep.
Go on over to Brian. He's got great content, awesome content. Check him out. Let's see.
He's also trying to improve his videos as much as possible. And
yes,
I've seen a significant difference from when he first started. And he's also very easy to listen to. There's some people that I find hard to talk to because they're bouncing to and from, but he talks very well on camera.
Knife and Gun says that he just doesn't take a camera with him to do stuff anymore. He says, find producing a video while out would sometimes take the fun out of whatever I'm doing. And that's true. There's times when I go out in the woods. I have a camera with me all the time because I like, let me do this up a little bit. I like taking photos like that in the back. So you never know what you're going to see on one of my adventures. And, you know, it's just like fishing. Everybody says, hey, man, I caught a fish this big. Well, you know what? I got photographic evidence that I saw a buck that big that day.
Yeah, that thing is gorgeous. Look at that rat.
Oh, it was awesome.
And for me, it's also like a scavenger hunt, too. You know, you find something beautiful, you video it or photograph it the right way, and then you can share it to other people. There's some people that might be disabled or don't have the time to go out and do these things, and it's a way for them to go and check it out themselves.
Oh, you're absolutely right. There's a lot of people that live vicariously through our videos that aren't able, and things that we take for granted, being able to go out hiking out in the woods, for instance.
Yeah.
There's a lot of folks that just, whether it be economic or physical challenges or whatever, they just don't have that ability to get out there, but they enjoy having that experience, seeing it through somebody else's eyes. And that's what I like about your videos, because I think you convey that in a great story. Especially the bow fishing video was that, and the tops video was some of your best stuff on YouTube so far. It's
Thank you. Well, people might be jealous about me being able to go and do these things, but I get kind of jealous about people having, steady income and that sort of thing. Because video production as a freelancer is not exactly steady. And luckily, I found a girlfriend that doesn't mind that it's not steady, so everything's good in that department.
it's a good thing that you brought that up. If you're thinking about starting a YouTube channel to get rich, don't do it.
Don't do it.
You're not gonna get, you know, that there's a handful, but in the genre that we do, it's going to be tough. If it's comedy or it's something like that, that's going to broadcast out to millions and millions of folks, but our little community, and I say little because a lot of these channels, they get hundreds of millions of views. I mean, it's crazy the amount, especially the music channels, comedy channels, stuff like that. Our community, yeah, we go, oh, great, my video had, 1,000 views, and for our community, that might be good, but 1,000 views on a comedy channel, it's like didn't cover the cost of gas to do the video.
Right.
So it's a labor of love.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm talking about. To drive my Jeep up to the mountains with gas at, I'm gonna cry again, for about $4.50 a gallon.
Especially rolling Fortress Jeep, that it just guzzles gasoline. It's pretty hard.
But that's where it goes back. Is my passion is that I love doing it. It brings me joy to make videos, and it brings me joy when folks comment back on the video. And I've had folks that have done negative comments, and I've been respectful to them, and they've come back and been loyal subscribers and great fans of the channel just because I didn't play into the little BS game of, grade school tit-for-tat stuff. Yeah, you're going to have the people that are crazy town obnoxious. Hey, that's what the block button's for. But, I get, you got to have that thick skin. There's going to be people that make the comment, and you know what? Yeah, they're probably right.
Yeah.
On a few
I've
things.
only had to block like 2 people, and that's because they were attacking other people, emotionally. I don't care if you talk shit about me, but if you talk shit about someone else and they can't really defend themselves, you're blocked. Spread your hate somewhere else. You're not using my channel as a device to do that. So that's pretty much that. Oof, gets frustrated just thinking about it.
Here, Mick asks, do you feel like every video you have to step up your game? This video has to be better than the last.
Yeah, and that's why my cameras cost so much damn money.
I feel now, for me, just speaking, as I'm not a professional, I'm just, I don't know, I wouldn't even know what you'd call it, some flunky on YouTube. But with 200 and something videos, I'm definitely trying to up my production value because now I'm a veteran in the YouTube community. I think the audience deserves, from me, better content, better production value, better quality of the image, better sound, just all together. And that's why a lot of stuff, I'm starting to take my time more before I put out the video, rather than just be the talking hands or just showing the item for 10 or 15 minutes and just talking the specs. Newsflash, anybody can do that. Anybody can do that. I mean, you can go to the website and get that. What folks want to see is, does it function? Does it work as advertised? Maybe the thrash tests, and folks like the head-to-head challenges that I seem to do on my channel, where I put the knives against each other or whatever. So folks like to see that because money's tight nowadays, and folks don't have the disposable income that we did, say, 5 or 6 years ago. So when they're going to make that purchase, they want a little bit of confirmation. Hey, am I going to make the right purchase buying that knife, buying that flashlight? And when they see it maybe in a head-to-head shootout, or they see a thrash test or whatever, it kind of gives them a little bit better maybe feeling to make that decision. What's your take on something like that, Andy?
It's all about sincerity and not selling out, I think. There's other YouTube channels, and I don't want to point names, but I will because it's a prime example. Like Ultimate Survival Tips has become sort of like an infomercial channel. And when you're getting paid to say a certain message that the manufacturer or the company wants you to say, that doesn't have any integrity, in my opinion, especially when you're playing with something like survival and people's lives are at risk.
Yeah.
Last thing you want is someone trapped in the middle of the woods with a broken knife or a piece of equipment that doesn't do what it's supposed to do. It's the consumer's responsibility to test this equipment before they bring it out. But when you're in the shit, you're using it harder than you normally would, and the conditions are not controlled like they would be in, say, a backyard. So, yeah, it's life or death, and that's not something you play someone's life with. So, that's that.
Yeah, I definitely agree on that. I know that I do a lot of charade knife videos. Charade's been a really good partner with my channel, but I let them know up front that I'm a very vocal individual, and if you're going to send me something that sucks, then I'm going to say it sucks. So if you send me something, make sure that it's something that what I try to do is offer in that sort of genre something that's affordable, quality, that folks can get and go out and be able to use. And they've been a really good channel partner in that regard. I've had a few videos on air guns where I've been real critical about stuff, and I've taken my punches in the comments from the fanboys of them, but you got to tell it the way it is, the way your opinion is. I have to do that disclaimer, what your opinion is, but be factual about it. You need to have your facts lined up.
Yeah.
Now, with all that, Andy has a little sneak peek that we're going to get to. And I'm going to do a quick drum roll. Folks, this is the first that you're going to get a chance to see one of his newest creations that he may have coming out hopefully around hunting season.
Yeah, well, I want at least the prototype, or at least the final stages of the prototype done by hunting season. But, I mean, just a precursor, this is my first knife that I designed that went into production. Not the first knife I ever designed. And it's very much geared towards, I guess, survival and field use. And so, a lot of people or designers when they go for tops, sometimes for a larger knife like this, they'll go straight into making a miniature version for people that have, length restrictions. They want to be able to keep it on their vest and it's too long for the full size, or, they're a smaller person, younger kid, a female with a smaller frame, etc., etc. But I wanted to have something that was completely different so that it would make a system. And so for a long time I've been a fan of the Aleutian people up in Alaska. They live in some of the harshest conditions. They deal with a lot of hunting and gathering and this sort of thing. And one of the most recognizable designs that they have is the ulu. The ulu is something that has been, I guess, evolved over thousands and thousands of years, and it works perfectly for cleaning game, cooking, processing these skins in order to make boats, to make clothing, and that sort of thing. So instead of making a knife into an ulu, I decided just to make a regular ulu. but this is a wooden prototype that I have just to get all the geometry and stuff. But I wanted it to work like an ulu instead of making a knife have an ulu type shaped blade, but then you don't get the benefits of an ulu. The benefit of an ulu is that there is no handle or anything like that, so there's no leverage to work on your hand if you're doing these hard cuts. All that force is put straight from your forearm into the cutting surface, and they're also, I guess, very compact because of that. So I wanted to have an ulu because they're really good at, you know, scraping hides and cutting in meat, and there's very little wrist action in order to get a wide cutting surface. So this is something that I designed. Normally ulus just have like a big hole right here, or it's a stick and it goes onto a blade. But I wanted this to be something that you can lash into an axe. So with the split stick, you can put it right in between the pieces, and then this handle is set up so that you don't have to do any complex knots, and it'll stay very secure. Because the last thing you want is forming a blood circle, chopping with it, all of a sudden the ulu itself flies off the axe and then kills someone, you know, that's 50 yards off, because this will be very sharp. It's going to be 3/16 of an inch thick. I'm hoping for chisel grind. I'm going to be kind of experimenting with that as part of the prototyping phase, but I think I want a chisel because scraping hides, cutting vegetables, things like that, carving wood, it's going to be a lot easier. So yeah, this is going to be pretty much, it's going to do everything you need in the woods. And the name that I have going for it is called the Omnivore, because it's going to be handling meat and vegetation. So it's pretty cool. And the blade's about 6 inches. And this is something that I'm very, very excited about, because I have not seen a production ulu made by a robust company that will do everything that you ask it to do, both in the kitchen, in the, in camp, or out in the field if you have a survival situation. So yeah.
I am so excited, and I'm not being a kiss ass here. that is pretty awesome. I know that folks fishing would love that, especially like in your carp videos, dude, where cutting the heads off, gutting them out real quick. That's going to do the job real quick.
And it's, you can look at videos of Aleutian women, Alaskan women, like, slaying salmon. I mean, they're just zipping right through things. And one, it's experience, but two, it's also the implement that you're using. And, for something like that, I think it's hard to beat the ulu.
Now, I promised Andy that we would keep our broadcast to about an hour tonight. So we're coming up real close right now. I'm going to do a quick plug. This is a great resource, something that I bought. I bought it at Barnes & Noble, I think. And it was like, I don't know, $15, $20, something like that. And the book is called How to Shoot Video That Doesn't Suck. And there's a lot of great stuff in here. I'm not going to go through all the bullet points. I mean, I think there's a couple of YouTube videos out about this book. So for me, it was probably the best $20 or under $20 that I ever spent in regards to helping my channel. So that was just a quick shameless plug. Andy, I really appreciate you giving us a sneak peek, a behind the curtain view. I'm pretty excited about that, dude. It's gonna be. I want to see the finished product. That's gonna look awesome.
Yeah, and there's a lot of things.
Again, did you say that you think that they're going to use?
Say again?
What steel are you going to use on it again? 1095?
Thinking 1095, G10 handle, and the reason why I'm going to a G10 handle is because you're going to be using it a lot for food and meats and that sort of thing. Micarta just seeps in oils and fats from whatever you're killing in blood, so it's going to be a lot easier to clean. Yeah, and I'm going to be playing around with the chisel grind. That could be a Scandi chisel, and also a little bit of the pitch of the blade. But right now I have it at just about where I want, because if you have it too flat, it's when you use it as an axe, the forces of the cutting and all the impact is going to be spread out on a wide surface. But if you have it nice and curved, it's more concentrated on a single point. So you have deeper cuts and more efficient. And also when you're cutting food, you know, by holding like that and rocking, you can cut bigger things without having to exert so much energy. So,
Kydex sheath with a belt clip?
probably Kydex, and I want to have a leather option too for people that want to go a little bit classic, but more likely than not Kydex, because you know you can put a little bit of soap, sponge it out, and then get it clean. Because like when I'm hunting, my knife gets dirty, and I tend to just wipe the blade on my pants and then put it into the sheath, just so I don't have chunks of meat, but there's still going to be blood, and you know, the only safe place is in the sheath. So, yeah. Try to do Kydex. It's not going to be machine washable because you will warp that into a taco, but it will be hand washable. So, that's that.
Just a quick question on your Tahoma. This is from Mike O. It says, do you know of any aftermarket handles for the TFK? The tan handle is nice, but I have to make my knives custom, it says.
It might be an option to send it to Tops and get it done through them. And that's kind of like a custom shop thing. That's something that I talked to them about. But right now, I do not have any connections for custom scales. If someone has a company or knows someone with a company that wants to talk about that stuff, I would definitely like to check it out, because that is one of the questions I do get a lot.
No, that's pretty cool. Folks, this is just the quick, unabridged version of the cameras that we use and a quick drill down of basically how to start a YouTube channel. Give us some comments of if this is stuff that you like to watch or to learn more of. Andy and I are always looking for new topics to talk about, and this will help us make better decisions on what to do shows on in the future. He is a wealth of knowledge. I pick his brain all the time in regards to how to shoot videos and things like that. So if you're not a subscriber, you need to go over to his channel like right after this broadcast and subscribe to his channel, because it freaking kicks ass.
Well, if I fart, I'm pretty sure smoke's going to come out of it with all the smoke you've been blowing up there.
Hey, it's true. I mean, you have great instructional videos, good content, and also his behind-the-scene videos rock. You need to get in on that, because there you get to see a little more personal side of Andy that I like seeing in your videos, is the little like, personal fireside chats. So if you're not a subscriber to that channel as well, go on over and subscribe to that channel. With that, I think we're going to wrap this up. If you want to give any parting shots before we check out.
Yeah, that's pretty much it, I think. I'd like to thank you for hosting this. I really appreciate you putting this on and you know, plugging me in and all that stuff. I really hope to start seeing some channels grow and get better, and using this opportunity and the technology of the internet. One of the good things about the internet is that, you know, everyone has a voice and can be heard. And so I hope to see that here in the near future and share your experiences and your thoughts with other people.
Yeah, my parting words of wisdom is find a YouTube, what we used to call in the Navy, a swim buddy. Find a YouTube buddy, and like Andy lives in Seattle, I live in San Diego, but with Skype, with Google, there's no excuse to not be able to talk and to be able to exchange ideas and stuff. And it really helps, one, in the creative process as well, to be able to bounce ideas off somebody else and feel comfortable being able to do that. And remember, there's basically no new content out on YouTube. It's just who's building a better mousetrap or who's talking about it a little bit better. With that, I want to wish you all a very safe 4th of July weekend. Have fun out there if you're going camping, if you're going boating, if you're going in the park, spending time with your families. enjoy the moment and spend time with your family and friends and just have a great, safe holiday weekend, folks. We have the giveaway going on, as I mentioned before. Thanks, Ken, from Prepare One. Check out that video on my channel and go on over to Andy's channel and also Brian's channel, Survival on Purpose. Go on over and check him out as well. And do me a favor, get out there and make some videos, because I want to watch some good content out there. I love watching other people's channels, and you know what? I watch a lot of people's stuff that's like 1,000 subscribers below. I mean, there's good channels out there that's not getting exposure. So go out there and go create some stuff and let your voice be heard. With that, thank you. This is John for the Wingman115 Channel. Check it out. Happy 4th of July, baby, yeah. Take care. See you on the next one.
And blow something up for me.
Woo!